What's happening, YouTube? Cowboy here, and as you can guess, along with the increase in level cap to Borderlands 2, of course comes a new set of build videos. So first up is going to be the Siren, my personal favorite class. If you saw my previous Siren video, I know near the end of it the audio got a bit all choppy. You couldn't really hear me just because I hadn't lowered the game volume. Obviously, I've gotten quite a bit better at making videos, so no worries, that won't happen this time. But that being said, let's kick it off. So what I ended up doing with the extra 11 points is made a hybrid spec between Cataclysm and Motion. Now, the base build is still relatively the same. Obviously, Flicker we want because, you know, more elemental effect on guns is good. Foresight because magazine size and reload speed are both core things you want. Helios because we're going to be phase locking constantly. And when I say constantly, I mean like we're going to be phase locking just non-stop. So Helios is a must-have. Immolate, obviously still just useless. I don't want fire damage when I'm in a fight for my life. I don't care. If I go down, I'm going to end up getting up for my black hole anyway. Backdraft, once again, why are you running up and punching people as a Siren? And you don't need the explosion, your shield takes care of that. Cloud kill, free corrosive damage every time you kill something, every time you shoot something. Like, where is there a downside? There's not. Pick it up. Now, previously I didn't have chain reaction, and this time around we're going to grab it. And the reason for that being that now that we can get points deeper into the motion tree, we can basically extend the duration of our phase lock by a significant amount. So just to give you an idea real fast, just by picking up, where's it at? We got 2.5 seconds on suspension and then 4 seconds on Thoughtlock. So right there, that's an extra 6.5 seconds that, you know, someone is going to be phase locked, which means a much higher chance, or I guess a longer time that our ricochet can proc compared to previously. So this time around, definitely worth picking up chain reaction. Reaper, obviously if you don't get this, you're not playing Siren correctly. I mean, 50% damage or 40% damage when they're above 50% health, that's just a ridiculous increase. There's no reason not to grab this. And then obviously we want Ruin. Now, the 1 point I have in Blight Phoenix, you're probably thinking, why does he have 1 point in Blight Phoenix? Well, that's because Blight Phoenix is badass. Just from an aesthetic perspective, like if you're playing with friends, every time I'm in a game with people that haven't played a Siren before, they're like, holy shit, you have these crazy looking fire wings coming out of your back. How do you get those? And you're just like, because I'm a natural badass, of course. So you have to have at least 1 point in Blight Phoenix, otherwise you don't look badass. So moving on from there, obviously drop the 1 point in Mind's Eye since our legendary mod's going to pick that up. And I've actually had a lot of people asking about that, so just for those that are confused, with the class mod, as you can see, it adds to skills, the legendary mod adding a shit ton to all around. Like, there's nothing that I would want to use as a Siren aside from the legendary class mod. I mean, Ward, Accelerate, Mind's Eye, Flicker, Foresight, 45% movement speed while shit's phase locked, cooldown rate on my phase lock, and gun damage. There is literally, like, you could just, this is the best fucking class mod ever made for a Siren. There's nothing else you want. But moving back, obviously, since that adds 5 points, if I put 5 points into Flicker, Flicker becomes 10 out of 5. And the only reason I'm going into this is I've had probably like 50 comments in the past month where people think that I'm hacking to get 10 out of 5, and I'm like, no, fuck, it's a class mod. Why don't people understand this? But now that that's covered, like I said, drop the 1 point in Mind's Eye to benefit from your class mod, and then we're going to hop over to the motion tree. So obviously we want 5 out of 5 in Ward still and 5 out of 5 in Accelerate. I mean, damage and bullet speed is always a plus, and obviously shield capacity and recharge delay are both awesome as well. Now, suspension, we're going to be picking up this time around, and I'll be getting into it in just a little bit why this is so crucial. But out of our other choices, I mean, kinetic reflection is a good skill, but I'm not really worried about deflecting enemy bullets because they're going to be dying so fucking quick, it's not going to matter. And similar to inertia, like inertia is a great skill to have, but you know, I'm not really worried about my shields because people are just going to be dying nonstop. And that's also why we're not going to grab fleet. Like, my shields are going to probably get depleted, won't matter, stuff's going to be dead. So we want suspension. That extra duration on the phase lock is going to be crucial to the strategy of this build. Obviously, Converge is a key piece of this. I mean, you phase lock one guy and it groups them all together. There's no downside to this, especially with what's about to come. So we got Quicken, 30% more off the cooldown. Obviously, we got to pick it up. And then Subsequence. And this is where shit gets fun. So, Subsequence, anytime somebody's phase locked and they die, 100% chance for it to phase lock somebody else. So, this is how this basically goes down. We start shooting something, it gets around that 50% mark. It's going to probably die soon. We hit it with Phase Lock. Ruin will most likely kill the target on its own. Upon Ruin killing the target, Subsequence moves to a new target who's basically right next to that guy because of Converge. And then what happens? Ruin procs again. And then that guy probably dies. And then it goes to somebody else from Subsequence. So basically, we're going to phase lock the first guy we see that's getting relatively low, and it's going to pull them all together. And then our phase lock is just going to jump between enemies. Each time it jumps, it's going to converge them back into a nice little tight-knit circle, and it's going to reproc Ruin. And what ends up happening is Ruin just kind of molests everybody in your visible field between just the multiple procs going off and your gunfire that's going in. So it ends up being pretty disgusting, and I think I got a decent group of enemies grouped up here to show you how it goes down in just a second. And then obviously Thoughtlock, and if for nothing else, just because of the 4-second duration, that's going to be huge, because without that extra 4 seconds, you might only be able to get the Subsequence to go off maybe 2 or 3 times. And that extra 4 seconds, like just in testing, I found that that was the difference between getting 3 Ruin procs in one phase lock and getting like 6. So, and the reason for that is obviously the more times Ruin's going to proc, the more damage it's going to be hitting everybody. So just the longer you have to let that phase lock run rampant, just, the more ridiculous it's going to get. And then obviously, even though we get 3 seconds on the cooldown of phase lock, well, we got, Quicken to counter that. And then, of course, if you have the legendary class mod, you get 44% of the cooldown rate there, and then another 40% of the cooldown rate for my relic. So, in short, this 3 seconds is really like 1.2 or something. Nothing to worry about. And also, you can actually, Thoughtlock applies to a lot of enemies that I didn't think it applied to. Like, there's a lot of bosses that you can Thoughtlock, and it's pretty funny because they just kind of stand there scratching their ass while you fill their face full of bullets. But, and all that's the build. Moving over to items, obviously, the Hellfire is still probably my all-time favorite gun on the Siren. I mean, it's almost 20,000 burn damage per second, and the burns stack on top of each other. Like, you just melt face so fast with this gun. If you don't have one as a Siren, I don't know why not. If you just saw the other video, I have a bunch of the pearlescents, so I'm rocking the tungsten for now. I haven't managed to get a new Norfleet yet, but in the meantime, this thing takes care of business if I happen to go down, so, it gets the job done. And I do that with all my classes. I want one gun there that's in place that if I happen to go down, I can just shoot it and I'll get back up. That's where the tungsten comes in. Or Tungasuka, whatever. I'm probably saying it wrong. Who cares? From there, the Butcher. And one thing you'll notice on my Siren is I always try to keep a good mixture of the elements. So obviously, Hellfire has got fire covered. The Butcher is going to be covering my corrosion. And the Slow Hand is going to be covering my shock. But if you saw the pearlescent video, the Butcher is just a ridiculous weapon. And, I mean, you don't really need corrosion that often, but when it comes to it, out of all the corrosion weapons I found, I mean, I used to use the Bad Touch, but this thing just ruins people so fast. I can't come to give it up. I just love it too much. And then, obviously, the Slow Hand, because regardless of the situation, you want to have at least one Moxie weapon just for that heal. Because if I'm about to die, I can switch to the Slow Hand, blast something in the face, get a ton of health back, and be on my merry way. So moving on from there, I've actually ended up coming to just love the Black Hole on anything I play with elements. I mean, I used the same thing on the Necromancer, and I started using it on the Siren, and I just love it. Just because of nothing else, when you go down, the fact that the Singularity yanks everyone over to you, and then the Nova damage goes out, and especially at 61, you can see this thing does almost a 500,000 damage Nova. That in itself will usually get you up if you're about to die. Legendary class mod, obvious choice. As for the Relic, the Bone of the Ancients gives me a hard-on. This is so amazing because, I mean, we're getting cooldown rate, which previously I was using the cooldown rate Relic. And I remember back a while ago with the last DLC, I was actually testing between the cooldown rate or the one that increased fire damage because I used the Hellfire so much. And I was like, well, I mean, in the end, I guess I'm going to go for cooldown rate just because, more phase locks is going to be better in the long run. And I had to put my fire one aside, and I was sad about that. And with the release of these new relics, I was just like, fuck yeah. Fire damage and cooldown rate, what could be better? So, I mean, if you're a Necromancer, grab the shock one. If you're the Siren, I mean, personally, I love fire, so I'm going to get the fire one, but As mentioned in the pearlescent video, this comes in fire, shock, or corrosive, so, you know, get one for your flavor. And in terms of grenade, I just grab a meteor shower just because it blows shit up. I mean, like, the meteor shower is that grenade that you can just throw it into a room and be like, fuck this, I'm just going to chuck this and turn around. And it'll just kill everything. That's just what it does. So, yeah, with that being said, let's get to business. So, got a good little group of guys grouped up here. They're already kind of fighting each other a little bit. So we're going to try and get this guy. Let's get this guy a little lower. Here we go. Come on. Alright, so we're going to phase lock 1. Kill him. And you can see the phase lock procs again. Kill him. Phase lock's going to go to this guy. Procs again. And right there, we only ended up getting 3 procs before it went down, but you can see just with all the different items we have doing cooldown rate, we just about have it up already. And well, you can see how just ridiculous the fire damage is going. I mean, look at these ticks. Look at the burns on this guy. Oh man, I almost feel bad for him. So we're gonna kill these last couple baddies real fast, just to get more to spawn and hopefully better demonstrate the ridiculous combination of Ruin and Thoughtlock, or Ruin and Subsequence put together. God, I love the burn damage on this. Just melting face all day long. Fucking right, I chew through shit like a fat kid through a cookie store. Alright, so here we go. Let's get 4 guys. If we can get them all grouped up, this will get nice and fun right here. So we're going to start with you. Thoughtlock, melt him down. Another 1 procs. Melt him down. Come on, where are you going? Get over here. Oh, went to this guy. Let's get this one down. Oh, you got a shield? Fuck your shield. Oh, I only got 3. Damn it. I was actually thinking about playing through this DLC all the way up to the bar just because I think that would have been an awesome place to showcase this. Oh, really? Look at this, and this is where it comes in. They got me down? No, you don't, bitch. That's what my rocket launcher's for. But, like, take this big guy, for example. We don't really want to mess with him, so we can just Thoughtlock him. Everyone's going to mess around with him. Like, no one's even shooting at me anymore. So that gives me time until this asshole walks in front of me. Blow him up real fast. But we got rid of his shield. Let's Thoughtlock him again. And we're just going to melt this Goliath real fast. I mean, look, that was a level 61 Goliath, and Hellfire was just like, what are you doing? Don't mess with me. I'm just going to melt you. You're dead. You're dead. And, I mean, it definitely is it's a very offensive build. I mean, as you can see, my health is just kind of like dangling on the precipice of life, but that's what we got our slow hand for. Look at that. We just pop this guy off a couple times. Look at all that health we got back. That's why you always want that 1 Moxie weapon. And you only need 1. And I love the slow hand just because the damage is so high, even though it doesn't heal as much as, say, the Ruby, the damage is high enough that the lower percentage of heal, it still works out. Like, look at this guy. He's a super badass. There goes your shield. You're dead. Like, that wasn't even fair. He just got molested in like half a second. And especially with this Thoughtlock just going around like that, it's going to keep all of our enemies constantly slagged up. Like, yeah, there's nothing else to say. It's fucking broken. It just ruins people. Look at this one asshole. Look at this. Watch this. Here we go. What are you doing? Stop it. Look at that. That's just elemental damage from Ruin, just finishing him off and melting him. So, now that you've seen how ridiculous the Siren can be when you, you know, combo up this shit, try it out. If you're playing with friends, one other thing I did, I ended up, if you want to do a more, you know, group-friendly route, you could always skip the Subsequence and Thoughtlock, and then you can get some points over and do, you know, res and wreck. Personally, I hate being the guy that's like, hang on, I'll res you real fast, but, I mean, now that you can split points up more, you can grab, like, Quicken, and then, obviously, between the items to get where you can pretty much just phase lock an enemy or res, and it gives you more utility, but in the long run, I'm still a fan of a build where you just melt face. But that's all there is to it for this one, guys. Like I said, other class build videos are going to be coming up. I'm just kind of working on each of the characters individually, so if there's a particular class build video you want to see more next, drop a comment below and let me know, and I'll make sure to get that one up as our next class build video. But as always, thanks for watching. I hope you like the new Siren build, and you can bet that when they finally release Krieg the Cycle, I'll have one up for him as well. But that's all there is to for this one, so we'll see you guys with the next build video, and keep melting down those bandits in the meantime.